everyone, and welcome to the Slay to Success Talk Show. This is your host, Rochelle Slay Queen Hemingway. I am the CEO and founder of Slay to Success. What is Slay to Success? It is an image consultant service business. I empower women, professional women, to elevate their presence, elevate their image so that they can elevate their impact. Yes, it is different language than what you have heard before, but guess what? All right. It's a new evolution to Slay to Success. And so one of the many things that I have done since I retired and started my business per se is to create platforms, use my platforms to bring in people so that I can have a great conversation. This is one of the platforms type of tools that I am using. And so what is Slay? Okay, I know a lot of you have asked me, what is this Slay thing all about? Well, let me tell y'all. Slay means to kill it, to dominate it, and to nail it, to be on point, to impress greatly, to dream big and work hard until you own it. It is also an acronym. And Slay stands for stay ready to be ready, lead out loud, a sense of community, a sense of power, and a sense of community, a sense of family. And you are built to last. Yes. And so tonight, y'all, we have a special guest with us. And I have designed this show where I can bring in men and women who are positively impacting the world using the Slay philosophies. So thank you so much, Chevy, for being here tonight and coming back with us again. Y'all, we were having some technical difficulties, but we got those squared away. And Tish, thank you so much for being here. I am here tonight, and we are starting off just a little bit later than we normally do. But as all as we know, the show must go on. All right. And so we are here tonight. And so we're going to get right to it. I know there's a lot of things that are happening with Slay to Success. One of those being which I have now 3 products on Amazon. I have my book that I wrote, this one right here. Okay, Slay to Success. It is now there. That's been there on Amazon. And now I have 2 guides that are being published right now. One for women over the age of 40, so 40 and above. And it's talking about how to build your personal brand to gain lucrative opportunities. And the other guide, it is called Elevate Your Image. And it's using personal brand strategies. So look for those, how they're going to be coming. I will have big announcements so that you can find them, and you can actually read and figure out how you can also build your personal brand, because here is yet one of the many layers of my personal brand. All right. See, thank you, Chevy. I appreciate you. So tonight's guest, y'all, let me go ahead and read her bio. She is absolutely slay amazing, number one. Okay. And Sharhonda. Okay, so let me get her Sharhonda here, y'all. She is a branch leader and multicultural champion for the Carroll and Northern Baltimore, Maryland area. She is responsible for implementing sales and service strategies for the Owings Mills Blvd Cir team to drive Truist's mission, inspire and build better lives and communities. Her focus is to empower and lift her teammates and clients. Beginning her career as a part-time teller at one of the largest banks in the U.S., she became fascinated by the financial industry and grew her career serving 13 years in banking. With hard work and dedication, Sharhonda furthered her career and joined BB&T in March of 2017 as a branch banker. And I think that's number 4. You're going to have to correct me to 100% on that one. When she comes here, she'll let me know. Later being promoted to branch leader in 2019, leading various branches in Baltimore City and County. Passionate about making an impact in her community, she is a member of BNI Pikesville Chapter, Chamber of Commerce, represents as one of Maryland's multicultural champions, leads Bible study, and started a girls mentoring program in 2020. She was recently rewarded for the most number of bank on your success presentations in all of Maryland in Q1 of 2023, providing financial education to consumer and businesses. Sharhonda enjoys spending time with family, nature, walking, traveling, reading books, writing, and listening to gospel music. So put your hands together for my guest, Sharhonda Jennings.
Hello, hello.
I'm
We
super,
got it.
we got it. You have no idea how much we were in here troubleshooting, y'all. And I was like, the show will go on. The show will go. We're
Always.
saying, right. And so I am so happy that you were patient and understanding about, working this. And of course, it was on my side. So, y'all, I restarted the whole computer, okay, which took a minute to get it back up and running. So, thank you so much for being my guest tonight on the Slate to Success Talk Show. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, and yeah, I love connecting with new people, especially since I retired, and you never know who you're going to be introduced to. So, we were introduced by another woman that I met at an event, and she said, "Hey, you need to talk to Sharhonda. She's got an amazing group of women that she works with because she's doing the Ruby Girls, right? It's called Ruby
Red
Girls,
Ruby Girls.
Rare Ruby Girls. And so we talked, and then I said, "Oh my goodness, you're going to be, and you would be a great guest for my show. So let's just do this, right?" And so here we are. Here we are. So if you can just introduce yourself to our um, audience and just a little bit about who you are, a little bit about your background, where you live in, all that great stuff.
Absolutely. Well, first, thank you so much for having me. This is exciting. This is definitely a great platform. I am all for empowerment and women. We got it going on.
Yes,
We
we do.
wear many hats. So kudos to you and everything that you're doing. And thank you so much for the invite. About me, I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. I grew up, born and raised here. This is all I know for now. But born and raised Baltimore County, that's where I was born. There is a big difference, Baltimore County from Baltimore City. Early on, my family moved to Baltimore City, and it was kind of like a little strike of atmosphere for me. But of course, I adapted. Later on, being a student all the time, I always was the one that always did extra things. So later
Mhm.
on in life, surprisingly, of course, life throws so many curves your way. I ended up in banking as a part time teller. After raising my 1 year old son. So I am married for this is year 13 for us. I have a oldest. My bonus child is 17. My son, the next one is 14, and my daughter is 10. So busy in itself. I'm a branch manager of Truist Bank. I love what I do when it comes to lending and making sure businesses have what they need to thrive and just to work out their career. But my actual calling is ministry. So that's where Rare Ruby Girls come from. I like to empower young girls because, of course, it's good to empower women, but if you can get the girls at a core young age, it's amazing of what they can become sooner than later. Sometimes we have to go through some things and it's like, dang, I wish I would have known that sooner. So we are the sooner. We are the village, and we make sure we are holding our girls' hands as they get through life so that they can live out what they dream to be. So that's pretty much what I do. I'm studying now for theology. So I'm getting my bachelor's degree in biblical studies. And that's where our youth ministry come from. It's faith based. So we base everything off of the word, scriptures, and how we empower because we know we can do everything, but we cannot do nothing without him. And that's my firm belief. So that's what I teach the young girls.
Wow. I absolutely applaud you for that because You're right. Sometimes there are so many challenges that we have as young girls, and we sometimes think we have to do it alone, right? Sometimes we don't know that other people have done it, and we think we're by ourselves. And having mentors and people who kind of step in to say, "Hey, here's something to think about. It's not exactly this is what you need to do, but think about it in this way," right? Before they go and pursue, before they get too down in a road and they are in troubles and they just don't know how to recover from it, right? And
Right.
so, like, where did that come from? Okay, so you're as in the banking world, and
Hmm.
your experience with businesses and helping them with their monies and so forth, and how they could attain capital to grow their businesses. And so that's one aspect to what you do. So I would like for us to stay a little bit more on the girls, and then we'll switch back to banking.
Hmm.
So where in that did you transition and you're like, you know what, the girls need more mentorship, and now I'm going to do that? Like, where did that come from, or how did that come to be?
Oh my gosh. I will just say in the beginning, when I started to go to school, just started to study about psychology. And I was really intrigued about learning how the young brain develops. And I just thought back on what I went through as a young child. And it wasn't anything treacherous or just major abuse. It wasn't anything like that. But when I go through day to day, I think about, oh my gosh, that was really tough, those young ages. So when I had my second child, my daughter, I decided in banking. I was a banker at that time. I said I really want to be there full time, not full time, but more with my children at this young age. My son was 4, my daughter was newborn, so I decided to go part time, and that's where I would write on the side just ideas and notes of how I can help develop younger girls. I have 2 younger sisters, so that's where it started. Um,
Mm.
Going to 2020 during the pandemic, I hit a plateau in management where I just was like, I'm helping everyone else, but how can I help myself and grow my own business? Yes, this 9 to 5 is great, but how can I help myself in making sure that I have everything that I need and I'm not worried about where my next check is going to come from if I get laid off, if anything was to happen. So I took a leap of faith and I actually went out in entrepreneurship. So I did that for some time. Lo and behold, I caught COVID and
Mm.
things did not go as planned. But
Mm.
it's amazing because I decided this is not going to be the end. This is just not it. This is not it. So all of the money that I had saved, it was getting exhaust because I was going through just a life trial. And one of the most major, I guess, turnaround things that could happen in my life. If you want to call it rock bottom, that was my rock bottom. It was when I quit my job. So,
Mm.
that gave me the strength to know that I can do anything. If I can be out here with no job and still make it, I can continue to go on. Now, with me being sick, the main thing I thought of, I want the best insurance. I want the best retirement plan. I have to get back into my 9 to 5 for security purposes and for my children. So I did that. Once I got into the banking world again, I figured it out and to connect the pieces. I'm still helping to change lives. It's not a one off. It's how do I integrate what I know of what my gift is on what I do on a day-to-day basis. So in the evenings, I would set time apart for the girls, or in the evening, I would start to learn how to build a website. I would order cards. I would do things, taking pictures and setting time apart from what I get paid to do on a, 9 to 5 scale or W-2. How do I get this entrepreneur part together? So 9 to 5 is not just 9 to 5. It was okay, here it is, 5:05. What do I have to do for myself? Or on the
Mm.
weekends, what do I have to do? Waking up early in the morning, writing down notes and believing Okay, it's not going to happen overnight, but let me store these notes out of my brain somewhere so I can get back to it later. So just juggling a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? You spoke so much in that, because there are a lot of women that I know who are doing both. They're working and doing their business on the side, and trying to make the time, count really while you have it is important, because every second really counts when you are, you
Every
know,
second.
you know what I mean? It's like
Mm-hmm,
5:05 and you're like turning over and you're like, okay, what do I need to do in my business? How do I grow my business?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so, so you must have your time management skills. Like,
No,
no.
no, I'm still learning. I have notebooks of notebooks of notebooks. I'm the person where you see I have notebooks, and you some people like to do digital. I got to write it down. I have calendars. Even on my lunch break, in between clients, if I get a bright idea, it's just randomly everywhere, sticky notes everywhere. So no, I
Wow.
don't have it down. I do not have it down pat. I promise. Some people can look and think I do, but nope, I don't.
Well, Leslie is in here, and she said she just loves this because you're keeping it real. You hit a point where you said, "Hey, I just need to go back and to do a job. I need to secure some benefits for my family." And it's good
Hmm.
to have a dream, goals, aspirations that we want to pursue, but we got to
Hmm.
be realistic about where we're at, right? And so
Yes,
that's what you said. And then she says using your gift while working your 9 to 5. Like
that's it.
that right there, you
That's it.
know, it is. That's exactly what you're doing right now. And she says the calendar and planner is her best friend because she is also doing
Yes.
both. And
Yes.
so she has a system, so where she can actually, you know, create the growth in her business. And she says it's all about the benefits for the long term.
It really is. It really is. I don't know if it's not on my calendar, it will not happen.
Oh yeah, believe me. I
It
have
will not
mine
happen.
sitting right here, and I know a lot of us, have our systems. Mine's is this. It is the
Hmm. Hmm.
2024,
Yeah.
and I write in this, and you're right. If it's not on here, it ain't happening. Or I done forgot about it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, so um, in your mentorship of the young girls that you have, what are the different challenges that, because the world is different, right? It's so much different than what we were raised in, and the pandemic changed a lot of different things as well. What are you finding as like the common themes with
Mhm.
your girls?
Um, and it's very fairly new, so I'm still learning the girls, and the girls are learning me. Um, it's the phones, believe it or not. It's the digital, and I love it. I'm not as old, but I'm old enough to know what life was before digital.
Mm-hmm.
So just to see how connected and emotionally involved they are with their phone is the most difficult of what I'm seeing. And it's heartbreaking because everything they learn comes through that phone. It's the first thing they see and waking up, and it's the last thing they see going to bed. So, how do we connect with the parents on, keeping some time apart from that phone? How do we have downtime? And we did like a quick fast, like and fast from technology. And I know that was difficult, but how do we put the world down so that we can focus on ourselves, focus on what's in front of us, and not be moved and shaken about what's going on outside in the world? So I think that part is the most difficult.
I think that is too. And it's just not for girls. I have a 14-year-old son, and he's on his phone, and it's kind of, there's no right or wrong way about it because digital exists. We are in a digital age. And so having the phone and the availability to kind of do whatever on there, it's really about like setting boundaries, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
I don't know, what the answers are, right? So I'm
Mhm.
very curious as to, how do you go about doing that when I'm on my phone? Okay. So, and I'm on digital as well. It can be challenging. And I think
Yes.
for girls, we get emotionally tied to things too. I remember as a young girl, if someone would say something to me that was really hurtful, I would just take that on and just believe. We believe the words that people are saying about us when we don't really have that self-love or that self-care for ourselves. And so I can understand, if it's on digital, because you can write out anything, right?
But the great thing about it is when you look at it from a different angle, because it's not all negative, it's a lot of positive in there as well, because they are our future. And I promise you, the situation that we had earlier, if I pulled my little 10-year-old and say, hey, I had this issue, they can get it like that.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Mhm.
So it's not a negative thing, but how do we integrate our worlds, with the different, we have millennials, we have boomers, we have Gen Z. How do we integrate and allow everyone to be on one page with technology? And that's just the route that they are going into. But I'm so happy that they have that intelligence, because that puts them in the science, field, that put them in math. They're already beyond. They don't have to worry about doing basic math the way we did. They are already accelerated to a different, a
Yes.
category. So it's how do we integrate? Because I have to learn from you, and I love the fact that mentoring is not only for us mentors to teach the mentors, but for
Mhm.
us to learn from them as well.
Yeah.
So how can it be a trade off of making sure we're in this together?
Yeah, I love that, and you're right. When I we have our son, and he's in honors classes, and he takes those on, and he does extremely well in it, and I struggled just doing basics. So I'm like, how do we get this knowledge, But you're right, it's the advancement of the world and where we're at, and being that in between, kind of being there to hold their hand, if you will, not physically, but having some support and lending them, some advice is absolutely gold. I think that is
Mhm.
absolutely admirable, because there are challenges with that, but there are so
Mhm.
many benefits,
It
so
is.
many rewarding benefits when you can and step in, and they trust you. They believe in what you're saying. They have someone else to bounce off ideas besides their
Mhm.
parents, because that could, our voices sometimes
Mhm.
don't carry a lot more weight, a lot of weight.
Right.
Somebody else's voice, who's saying it, can definitely gain a little bit more of attentions to it. So,
Yep.
do you talk to them about banking, finances, that type of thing?
I do. We actually had a session last year, and we do have one coming this upcoming year session. But we talked about banking in general. What do they know about interest? And I don't ask the questions about, oh, what do you do with money? No, I want to know what you know about the economy. What is
Mm,
interest? What does interest mean in a lending aspect, and what does interest mean in a savings aspect? And so once they get the rhythm of that, and also, do you have an account? Okay, I'm trying to get them out of the habit of Cash App. Cash App take everything. We don't know who's running at Cash App, but we quickly put our information in, and they take that percentage, because I bet you we're not waiting that 2 to 3 business days for the money. We're cashing out right now, and we'll take that change. Like, you can keep it. I need my cash now. But how do we get from actually opening an actual account and learning how to use these things, but also not to just learn how to use them, but to build a lasting relationship with a financial institution, so that when you're 18 years old, you're not just starting, you have history. You can get your first credit card.
mm,
How do you confidently use money without it being a burden? I know in my age, a lot of people, or older, when I work in a bank, they are like, "Oh, I don't use credit. Credit is not for me. If I can't afford it, I'm not going to have it." But is that really reality? When you're
Mhm.
looking for that car, are you really dropping all of your cash? Or when you're looking for that house, we don't care about your cash. So
No, they
I'm
want to
teaching
know
the
that credit score.
yeah, we need to know that credit score. So I'm teaching them about credit and what it means to make sure you pay things back, or making sure that you're making money with just using your gifts. I asked, some of the girls who know how to do hair, who know how to what is your gift? How can we monetize it? So these
Mm.
are things that we're going to go into further, but definitely that's the core of it. And I think that's that integrating my 9 to 5 with my gift. Because if I can teach that part at a young age, imagine what they can be, when they are 18, 25, 30.
Oh my gosh. Rhonda, yeah, I'm like, if only someone would have said that, right? Like, what is your
Yeah.
gift and what can you monetize that gift?
Even speaking, the girls are amazing. The dances, they all have talent. How do you monetize your actual gift? We can figure out the rest later, but how can you actually monetize this?
Yeah. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that right there, I mean, is absolutely I needed to hear that to pass that along the way, because I do have, nieces and cousins and so forth who are
Mm-hmm.
younger and may not understand that they could definitely do that. So it's like planting the seeds
Yes.
early, planting
Yeah.
those seeds early and showing them. So as you've been doing, okay, so the banking in your finance, background, give me some top, like, for our entire audience, because I have an audience mostly women, um, and some have businesses and some don't have businesses. But give us some top, um, you know, uh, what do you call it, ideas or strategies that we can use when it comes to financing, some things that we should definitely be doing,
Okay.
even if we're late in the game. What could we be starting to do right now?
Yeah, absolutely. The thing about it for me, and we always like to say that we're in these positions and we have it together and things are perfect. No, I'm preaching to myself as well. So some of those things are making sure that you plan for the emergency. That's the
Mm,
first thing. Plan for the emergency, making sure your insurances are up to date. We might have the same insurance when we first started out, but we accrued a lot of liabilities over time that if anything happened to us, can you maintain your lifestyle?
mm,
So that emergency fund, um, I believe storing some money away in the house is okay, even though I'm saying it in the banking industry, but you never know what we saw the pandemic shut down everything.
everything.
Yeah, so a safe space of saving money, but also monitoring what you already messed up. Some
Mm,
people like to, start out and say, I want to start new things, but sometimes you got to go back and clean some things up at the same time of getting yourself together and building on, let's say, for instance, credit. A lot of people want to rebuild credit but haven't gone back and tackled the mistakes. Everybody make mistakes, but the things that happened years ago, you have to address those issues. You have to do those things, but it's a thing of multitasking, putting a little bit of money aside, for savings, putting a little bit of money aside for debt, your payments, the things that you're going to pay, but also putting money towards your future. So starting, how do I invest in myself for this business? Making sure that I'm doing the business, but is it really registered with the state? Do you really have an EIN number? I can make a name up, I can put an LLC on it, but are you really doing these things? And then another is taxes. You
Mm.
know, are you really filing taxes the right way for your businesses? So I can go in so many lanes, but
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you just gave a lot there because, you know, first of all, the whole idea of having money at the house, right? When I was younger, my dad, he was a firm believer in that. Like he would, go and get his little stash and get the money that he needed to pay whatever, like right then and there. And he didn't have to run to the bank. And I never really understood that because I was like, Dad, you could just put all your money in the bank. But you're right, just in case something happens. The other thing is when you're talking about businesses. And so we can be very naive when you go into business because we have a name, we have an idea, we have something that we want to put out there, but having all the different elements of a business needs to happen, to be
Mhm,
legit. You don't
mhm.
want to get called out and then having to pay extra monies because you haven't done the right things in the business. And so, like being
Yes.
very informed, well informed about business. And
Mhm,
can you accept that liability? Can you accept all of the payments, if you will, or the fees that come with
mhm,
the business? So you're absolutely right, spot on that. And
mhm.
I also believe, because I share with them about the 8 dimensions of wellness, and finances is one of the dimensions of wellness. If you
Yeah.
can't get these finances right and they're not working in your favor, stress, anxiety, worries, all the things. And I know
All
you've seen
types
it.
of mental
I know
all
you've seen
types of
it.
mental issues, yeah.
I know you've seen it, and you probably see it on a daily basis where people are coming in there and they're frustrated about their finances. You know,
Yes.
so, going back to getting to like savings and checking, and I love Leslie's comment here. She said her youngest daughter's first savings account was at the age of 9.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know, so that way
Yep.
they can make those transactions in there on their own.
Yeah. Yes, I have clients that will, as soon as they come out of the womb, as long as they have a social security card, they are on their way to the bank. So it can start as early as you like. 9 years old is a good, start age. And the fun thing, make it fun for the kids. It don't have to be an ATM thing, but allow them to be able to fill out a deposit slip or talk to the representative. If you grow those things and enhance them now, it's going to be a piece of cake later. It's going to be like a daily thing. They're not going to be learning just when they get out of high school. And I think, you know, we learn things as we go. And when I was 18 and I was on my way to college, my dad gave me a debit card. I just knew he was going to reload it. Like, okay, Dad, I need you to make a deposit.
Yeah.
I need you to put some money on there. I'm going to the store. That's all I knew. But if I really knew the length of banking, and from Baltimore City, that's not something that was taught in schools. That's not something that, and I can say Baltimore City, but all over,
Yeah.
being African American, that does not come fluently for us. We have to learn. When I had my first job, I would go to the check cash and place, the liquor store, and pay that fee with my ID. That's what I knew. So it's just
Yeah.
all in the education.
Oh, I honestly, didn't get the education that I needed as well on finances. My dad did set up accounts for us, but that was as far as it went. We didn't
Right.
go in there. We didn't see our statements. We didn't see any of that stuff. So
Right.
it's still important for us to kind of like go line by line and explain what each of these things on the statements mean. And Chevy says she has accounts for all 3 of her kids, and the youngest is 4. So
Yes.
she ain't messing around. She
At
like,
all. Y'all gonna learn today.
get learn today. That's what we're doing.
I love it.
I do too. I just like, okay. Um, and so I also talk through, like, even though this is the talk show is centered around what we've been talking about, but I also talked through like leadership and personal branding and mindset, so having these key elements as a part of our everyday life. And it sounds as if you have that. You have the leadership mindset, you have the put we got to step out here. You're taking the lead, you finding a gap, if you will, and you're feeling that. Is that something that comes natural for you, or do you think that it built over time as being in the industry and then doing what you're doing now?
I think it's a little of both, because naturally I like to lead, but it took time because I was a very, very shy person, like nerves on 10 all the time. But I would push myself to, go beyond what I felt. So in high school, I know I told you, I honor you because of your background of being in, with the Air Force that you,
Mm-hmm.
yep. So my high school years, I was in JROTC,
Yeah.
and I went up the ranks of that, and that taught me how to lead, honestly. So, as children, those things shape you at a great young age. So, I was able to learn the drill team, and I was doing the rotating of the rifles. It was so much fun, but I also learned that leadership skill, and throughout time it always stuck with me, the structure, how to make sure I presented myself. And it wasn't just a performance for me, it was learning how to wear that uniform, how to have that perfect crease, how to make sure that buckle and that neck bow tie and everything to
Yes,
be
ma'am.
aligned. That excited me. I don't know. You could
It-
call me the nerdness of nerds, but that really excited me. So I always took from that to show up in the best way. I would spend time at night to shine my shoes. We had nice shiny shoes, and made sure that my hair didn't go below my collar. So when I started to go in the professional world, I learned how to present myself in the best way. I never forget as well. I can't remember the name, but it was a lady that taught us etiquette. So she taught us how to do mock interviews. She told us what size earrings to wear, what hair, like how to wear your hair, the lightness of your makeup, how tall your heels should be, the basic colors of professionalism, black, dark blue, gray, maybe brown. And you can
wow.
rotate those. So it taught me when I went into my first real interview in the professional world, I was able to remember that from high school of, okay, I'm not going to wear big earrings. I'm not going to wear dark lipstick. I'm not going to put too much makeup on. So those things set in for me. And internally, I always believe that I always want to look for, I always want to look and dress the part of where I'm going. I
Mm-hmm.
don't look and dress the part for where I am. I dress the way if I want to be in management, I'm going to dress in my whole suit, just like everyone else.
Hello.
I'm not going to wait yet. I got laughed at because I wore kitten heels, but I saw managers wear kitten heels. So I put my kitten heels on behind the television.
Girl.
And it allowed my leaders to see that, oh, I could see her doing that. I could see that. Yeah, you dress for where you're going, not where you are.
Mhm.
Because by the time you get there, it's like it's too late. You should have been showing up the way. So those things kind of set in me. So I just like leading. I learned over time, but I think it was instilled as well as my grandmother. My grandmother was like an upstanding woman. And as I think about it as a grown woman, I don't realize I was really watching and internalizing how she showed up for herself. She's not with us anymore, but all the way up until I can remember, she was an amazing leader. So I think it was in my blood, but I also learned along the way.
I love it. I'm just and Leslie says a shout out for the grandmothers because
Yeah.
yes, they
Mother's Day
are
coming up. Yes.
so many. you know what? You get so much from them
Hmm.
just by watching.
Just
They
watching.
didn't really have to say anything. They
Hmm.
just went about their day, and you just sat there and you kind of watched them move and how they navigated certain challenges, and you're like, "Oh my goodness." And girl, you done told a whole thing about, my passion, and that's, really setting people up for where they're wanting to go. And you're
Hmm.
like, "Hey, they were wearing kitten heels and they wearing suits up in here. That's what I need to be wearing." And so having your image in a certain way where you can walk into a place and be able to get the promotion or get that special opportunity. And it's just by tweaking just the littlest things.
The littlest.
The littlest. It's these little
Small.
details. These are the details. And so you didn't have to be in the military to learn these skills, like you said, you went to ROTC and you were doing that, in high school, and you took that. And so my audience is loving that. Dress for where you're headed. I like that. She absolutely likes that. And so did Chevy. She says, "Just for where you're heading."
Thank
So
you.
yeah, so, and, great advice for even us as, matured and seasoned women, you know, because
Hmm.
sometimes we don't see that, maybe we slacken, or we don't feel good about ourselves, or, something may have happened in our life where we kind of said, "Oh, I'm just not going to do that." It's a reminder. It's a
Yeah.
reminder for us.
And another thing I stick with is when you look good, you feel good. You just
Yeah,
operate a different way.
sure
When you
do.
look good, you feel you can't tell me anything. I,
Anything.
I know when I hit rock bottom, I said I know I need to go to the salon. That's where I'm gonna start. I'm just going to go to the salon,
See,
and it changes your life as a woman. You just got to be able to know that, and it could be small pieces. I don't do a lot of a lot of name brand. It's okay, but sometimes just going to your nearest little stores and getting a little signature piece. And the older you get, you know how to mix up some things and make it real fun. So it's just
yeah,
getting in the door. Just make sure you get in the door, and then you can have fun later.
listen, that's a whole lesson right there. Get
You
in the
got me
door.
now.
Now let me see how I can work this thing. And
Exactly. Now you can see my personality and my funness. Not
right,
going too overboard, but you can put a little pizzazz in it.
right. Oh Lord. And Nikki says Sharonda always looks the part. So
Oh,
she's
thank
giving,
you.
yeah, she
Oh my
will.
gosh. Look, I have to give a shout out to my discipleship group. I run a Bible study every Wednesday night at 7:15. And Nikki is a part of my
Oh,
discipleship group, but she's really one of my closest and best friends. So shout out to y'all. Thank y'all for joining.
yes, thank you for joining her tonight, y'all. This is extra special. I love that when your community shows up for you, because my community shows up for me too. They are here. Leslie, Chevy, uh,
Yeah.
they are Tish. They are all part of the community. So I absolutely love meeting new committees and joining us together to have conversation. So she's giving you much love back to you. So
Think I did it wrong.
hey, people know. They know what
Yeah,
you're talking.
the young girls keep me together.
Oh my gosh. So we've been here for about an hour because we got started a little bit later. But is there anything that you want to talk more about or more through that you want to share with the audience before we step out for tonight?
Um, you know, I always like to give some sort of motivation, no matter where you are, matter where I am. I always have to empower the next person. A lot of my growth started from, again, that rock bottom place, but that's where the most, that's where you hear. I don't know if you're spiritual or not, but that's
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you get the most wisdom from.
Mm-hmm.
When you are at your lowest, that's where that wisdom starts to seep in. That's where you know who your friends are, who the ones that need to go, who need to stay. But also, it gives you a humbling experience to know that, okay, where else can I go from here but up? So
Mm-hmm.
just keep trucking along, and finding those things that's going to put you right back on the right path, because life can take you, but finding those things to keep you grounded, finding those things to keep you who you are, you know. There's so many influences out here, but staying original to who you are. And that's why the business name is Rare Ruby, because with much pressure, much heat, darkness comes the most beautiful, most valuable stone. And one of I didn't even realize it, but one of my young women that I like to, partner with some from time to time, she bought me something and said she is as precious as rubies, and those are very precious. And that's why I named it that, so girls can understand, even women, that no matter where you are a precious stone, and you are cut different from everyone else, and you have to be rare. How boring would the world be if everyone looked and dressed the same, So definitely just motivating yourself, encouraging yourself, making sure that your words are powerful. Um, just knowing the power of the tongue is very, very, very important. When you feel like, I don't know where I'm going to go, I don't care. Tell yourself, this is where I'm heading. This is where I'm headed, and this is the path that I want for myself. And get people on board. You got to make sure people believe in you. That's the main investment. No one's going to invest in you unless you believe in yourself. So it's not questioning someone. Do you think this is a good idea? Do you think I'm doing the right thing? What do you think? No, you have to know within yourself. So I just, that piece of motivating yourself and making sure that alongside of you, the ones that you have closest to you are being motivated as well. Because when they slack off, trust and believe you're going to slack off right with them. So yeah, you got to make sure the ones that's closest by you, making sure that they are good, because it, life is a rotation, and I have a really tight group. If it's not me this week or this month or this quarter, it might be the next home girl. So just making sure that yourself and those around you, and you keep rocking on.
Oh my gosh. I look, y'all, and they know. They know. I'm like, this right here is so good. Y'all just missed, if you weren't here to listen to it live, you back on this replay. What she just shared with you is so good. So good. Knowing
Thank
who
you.
you are, believing in yourself, making sure that the people that you have you surrounding you are positive people. They didn't get the download, you did. So you should be
Yeah,
out there working that, right?
that's it. You
You
work it.
you work it. And you're unique in your own right. And so you're only one of you. And so what do you have to give back to the world? Right? I
Hmm.
love it. I absolutely love it. And I know you done changed somebody's heart, if you will.
Oh, thank you.
Because
Thank you.
because life is life in out here, and there's a lot
It
going on.
is.
There's a
It
lot
is.
going on.
And this
You
last piece, look,
Go
nobody
ahead.
know that you're broke but you.
Well,
Nobody to know if it's a thing. I gotta say it because of financial peace. No one know that you are broke unless you put those words out there, because
mm,
you're never really broke. You're the head, not the tail. You are, above, not beneath. You're the lender, not the borrower. So make sure, and that's a part of the way you show up for yourself. I'm not in a bad place. I'm just not in the place that I want to be right now. And no one have to know. You don't have to know. So, and I think people get embarrassed because they don't have things. Sometimes you might have to sit out on some events. Sometimes you might have to miss some birthdays and some things until you get things back in order. But those are just some key takeaways in this financial world coming off of this pandemic. A lot of people were strapped and a lot of people were stuck, and it felt like once the doors open and everything was back together, everyone was running, trying to catch up and trying to keep up. Sometimes it's okay to sit still and just know where you are and not have to look. My mother used to say keep up with the Joneses.
That's right. My mom
But
says the same
everybody
thing.
don't, yeah, positive thinking. Everybody don't need to know your situation.
Oh my gosh. Again, I think my audience is like, what?
Oh,
Even Leslie said, this is some bars right here.
bars.
Because, not you don't got to tell people the business about where you at like that,
You don't. You
I think,
don't.
and then it gets into your spirit. It
It
gets
does.
into your spirit, right? And then you
That
think,
power of the workers again.
yeah, I ain't got nothing.
Hmm.
I ain't got no
Hmm.
resources. I can't do anything.
Hmm.
I'm just here.
Yeah,
And that's again, you get into your mind. And I love the whole fact that you might have to just stay. You don't have to go to everything. FOMO, okay.
yeah,
The fear of missing out is something that
that's real.
it's a real thing.
The real thing.
Some people are like, hey, what, I need to be here and there and everywhere. And it's like, well, does your budget allow you to be there?
Hmm. Hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
and if it doesn't, you got to
that
sit back.
word, budget. The budget. I'm still learning it myself. The budget.
Yeah. I mean, I'm on a budget, okay, and I'm making monies, but I'm on a
You
budget
got to be on a budget.
myself
Yeah.
because I could be out there and I could spend some money, y'all. And I
Yeah.
know that most of us can. Okay. If
Yeah.
we had some money in our pocket, it'd be burning a hole in it. And we
Where
ready to go
it's the first thing is what I'm about to do with this money. Where I'm about to go, what I'm about to do, what I'm about to buy. Let me go through my screenshots of the stuff that I had saved. We can spend.
we can spend that money. And
Yes.
the world knows we can spend money because they said
Hmm.
even through the pandemic and the gas prices were still up and the price of food is up, people
Didn't
still
miss a
out
beat.
here buying. Okay.
Didn't
So
miss a beat.
didn't miss a beat down here.
Everybody had packages on their front door. For what?
But we got to be budgeting out here,
Hmm.
for what we can afford and live within our means. Okay, because
Hmm.
like you said, keeping up with the Joneses, you don't know what they got going on.
Hmm.
You have
Hmm.
no idea how they moving that money around and what's happening behind the scenes, and they don't need to know about yours either. But
Yes. Can I give this last piece of what a budget
yes,
is?
of course,
The budget. This is how you calculate your budget. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't give some type of financial
that's right. Let's
education.
go. Let's hear it.
The budget is calculating, adding up all of your household income or your income, the money coming in, and take away or minus the money that's going out, those bills, all the way down to your subscriptions, Apple, music, YouTube, everything, all the money going out. So you do the subtraction there. If there is a surplus, meaning there's extra money, what are you doing with that money? How are you saving? Are you taking advantage of income, interest? Or if it's a deficit, if that number is negative, meaning the money that's coming in minus the money going out, it's a negative money. What are those creative ways that I can make money? How can I, fill that gap? How can I fill that void? And hey, yes, I might have to reach into my gift bag and see what I can do. You know, what service can I provide? And just get creative. You never know. These multimillionaires, it come from a gift. So that's
Yeah.
what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, well, that is such sound advice. All right. And if for anybody else who needs more information from you, they can see about you
They
because
can.
yes, they can. And she's here in the Baltimore area, so anyone
And my
who,
partners cover everyone. So if you connect with me, I have partners that can go outside of my footprint. So that's something new and enhanced that we have now. So I'm able to help. I have clients in Texas. I have clients in Georgia. So yep.
yeah, well, have been so amazing, slay amazing, as I say on the show.
Woo,
And then Nikki said, most of us aren't broke. We just need to be more financially responsible.
that's it.
Absolutely. It
We are
is
not broke. Yep.
not broke. All right. Because we're
Hmm.
still getting these nails done. We're still getting these
Right.
hairs did. Okay.
That's it. Right. Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Oh my goodness. So thank you so much for working with me today on the technical issues, for your time, for your wisdom, for what you're doing for the young women, and what you have done for our show. And it really elevated us up to another level. Okay. I know that my guest, if you were here, Kim, thank you so much for being here. Nikki, Leslie, looking through the scroll here, Chevy, Tish. Thank you so much for being here for the live show. And if you come back for the replay, y'all, make sure that you put in the comments #replay. And Nikki says, thanks, ladies. This is great. Nice meeting you, Rochelle. It's very nice meeting you too, Nikki.
Thank
And
you, Nikki.
yes, I'm so happy. You never know, because I'm here in the DMV area when we might be able to meet in
That's
person.
right.
That's right. Okay. But thank you so much, everybody, for being here and watching us. And we will be back next Sunday, and I'll make sure I restart the computer, all right, before we have the next show, because maybe there's some updates too for that one. But that's going to be next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have another guest, an amazing guest who will be with us. And if you are available, I also have my Rise and Slay morning talk show on Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to get you kickstarted for your week. And I do just what Sharhonda did. It says drop these little sprinkles of gems so that way you can go out and keep on slaying until you can't slay no more. All right.
That's
So
right.
thank you, Kim. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. I will see you all soon.
Good
Bye-bye.
night. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Absolutely.